I might play a priest for my next character.
Hey! Stream! So,
Oh, no.
Sid's
Stream?
jumping for joy. Making this forest gnome device fly. Everyone heard that. Everyone heard that. I imagine this took maybe an hour of Sid tinkering. So Amelia's like rocking wards down on the ground in chalk. Even though it's grass, just chalk. It works because it's magic.
It works.
You probably hear him laughing like, but
I'm just lying against the tree, just watching the whole thing, being entertained by this elderly gnome dance.
Yeah,
What
I'm
you're
seeing
saying is that you're taking a few pointers because clearly these are the moves that you need to teach Vale to get with the ladies.
Vale's sitting on the log that Raj set out for him. That he thinks Melody set out for him. With that heart on a stick, smoking it, holding it, drying it really, not smoking it, drying it above the fire.
So
Just watching.
After you're done celebrating, Melody's still there. It's still hovering.
Melody just looks at Sid like, what? What do I do? Sort of look. She doesn't say anything, but.
Yeah. So after Sid finally calms down from all of his dancing and everything, I'm like, all right, Melody, this is where the experimentation starts. Now, I have a whole slew of things that I really want to get to, but before we can do those, we need to see what you can do. All right, your hands are on it, and it's barely lifted. First thing to find out, lift your hands a little higher and see if it goes up, and if it does, then back down to see if it goes down.
Arcana roll with advantage.
That's what it says. At 20.
To say that it's lifting your hands up and down is a vast simplification that a forest gnome would get very angry about. But more or less, whether it's what he says or not, or whether it's what you're thinking, or whether just how you're having it work, you move it perfectly. And I imagine this continues for the next hour of Sid trying to figure out what triggers what, and everything is like up, down, side, twist, twist. Everything works. At no point do you ever get on it, or either of you get on it. You just have it kind of like your hands in it and you're leaning. Actually, Melody's got long arms because she's a big person, so she's just like this the whole time.
Okay, now here's the next part of this experimentation. So now that you have it hovered, and it's going by the control of your hands, which is incredible. I'm sure we can do this from a distance, but we're not worried about that yet. All right, try to hold it as steady as possible, and then pretend like it's a cliff edge, and you're climbing on that cliff edge to get your favorite fruit, okay? So your hands are on a cliff edge, and you're gonna like hoist yourself up like you're trying to climb up to get your favorite fruit. Now remember, when you climb a cliff, you can't push down, because when you push down, the cliff doesn't go down. You have to like, and like use your body to lift up, okay?
If that's what you're trying to do, Melody, with a little difficulty just because it's unwieldy, does climb onto the disc. While the disc is like at least 5 foot up in the air. You didn't get it to lower it down before you do this, because that wouldn't be science, would it? Safety isn't science. But she actually can lift on it and be kind of like half slumped on it with her arms on there. She could probably stand up. Maybe it takes her a couple of minutes to do so because it's weird. But she would do it, I imagine.
Yeah, she would, just once she gets used to it.
So Sid's gonna need wisdom. So he has no problem literally standing directly underneath this thing and taking notes about what's going on. Like, oh wow, look at that! You know?
Yeah, some parts are twisting, some parts are glowing, yeah.
All right, now, while still standing underneath it. All right, now remove your hands completely from the disc, but still try to maintain control, okay? You can do that for me, right? Oh, hold on, let me move.
You do that, you move your hands, it falls. I would say the Melody, you don't take any damage. It does crash against the ground pretty roughly, because Melody is way heavier than it's meant to handle. So it does just kind of crash into the ground quite unelegantly, and all the lights go out in it.
All right, now, my turn. I need to try this out. just step to the side for a second, Melody, because you're going to be the next thing that we practice, okay? All right. I'm going to go and put my hands on it, similar to what she did before to make the hands bigger. I'm going to try to replicate that to make them smaller.
She just kind of put her hands there, and it happened.
Yep.
And that happens as well. It just sort of like, the right size, and it apertures down.
I think forest thoughts. I'm like, all right. Trees and bees. Ooh, bushes and berries. Leaves and rivers. They give me shivers.
Give me an Arcana roll.
I wonder whether this thing has an anti-rock gnome function.
Hopefully.
I do get an additional +2 to this. Waiting to see it. A 12, so 14.
The previously green writing turns red and changes to say, rock gnome detected. It clamps about your hands and speeds at a high speed towards the sky. You realize now what happened to the previous rock gnome.
It rattles, Sid. It doesn't really do much else. What you're feeling when your hands are in that chamber is very weird. It's like your hands are just in this sort of floaty fluid. But they'd come out dry. There's nothing in there. But it rattles a little bit. It's the kind of thing where, like, Gilwin's sort of like, nothing happened. But you're like, I swear I felt it move.
Like, okay. It's probably going to take more practice from me. Before I try again, let's keep experimenting with you, Melody. He turns to look at her.
Salny, did you not listen to what Amelia said? It doesn't have power.
Did you literally not just watch everything that Melody
did?
just did?
Yes, but you are clearly incapable of doing.
Oh, you are a foolish little man there. No. It just requires the correct if you're trying to barter with a dwarf in Elven, it's not going to work out so well, is it? And so you just have to learn to speak the language of the person you're bartering. Consider this a very stubborn dwarven merchant. I just have to learn how to twist my tongue the ways he likes.
Very well, so when you start producing energy that the Feywild produces, somehow, which you are going to do how?
I'm sorry, can you do me a favor? When we first met one another and you first employed me, I had manufactured for you a wonderful piece of equipment that you were able to use to hide extremely well within the woods, did I not?
Yes.
Do you think that magic came from nowhere?
I think it didn't come from the Feywild.
You think that something that was able to hide you from the Feywild, in nature, didn't come from the Feywild? Magic's not just like one easy thing. Like, it comes from all over, and you have to learn how to manipulate every little bit of it. Just because I personally don't have Feywild within me doesn't mean I can't manipulate it.
But you need an energy source to manipulate.
There's an energy source in there, foolish man.
Well, I don't think so. That's not what Amelia said.
And Amelia is not very good at dealing with magic items. She's good at dealing with magic energies. I, however, am good at the items.
Well, we'll find out then, won't we? Why don't you get it working?
I'm going to. Hey, Melody. Our next experiment is to see if you can control it without having your hands directly on it. Because it might not be so useful for us, beyond, of course, being amazing, if you had to have your hands on it at all times. So, first, everything like you did before, get it up and running.
You can do that. You can. Nope. Yeah. At this point, mostly the 20 helped. You're sort of interfacing with it more or less. You can get it up and running. Are you standing on it, or you just?
Yeah, I would stand on it.
Now you realize, it's a lot easier when you stand on it. It's still built for gnomes, so you kind of squat a little bit. But
so you could probably even just sit down on it.
Oh yeah, you could sit like legs. You'd be like this.
Okay, now stay comfortable, but do me a favor and just like remove your hands completely from it, but maintain your mind within it. Try to control it without your hands actually inside that gel and see if it's possible, because there is a gel that you can only feel if your hands are in there and experiencing the energies.
It's going to fall.
She moves her hands very slowly.
It falls.
It falls. Okay.
Okay.
Something you
hear a-
notice this
you hear a
time
ha-
is it falls and then like some of the things try to move like on the bottom of the disc, like the little plates, but then it just stops and just.
I cast prestidigitation to go. Wah, wah, wah.
By this time, I imagine you experiment on this train of thought for quite some time. Amelia finishes her wards. Probably is like, are you idiots going to go to sleep at any time?
No.
Are you going to stay up all night fiddling with this?
Oh man, he's gonna drink tea, coffee, and maybe do a line of coke if it means he gets to keep playing with this thing. He's got a new.
If Sid carries on asking Melody for help, Melody won't sleep either.
That's
Hey.
absolutely okay. I won't stop you.
I
Fail,
will assist in the research, and the first thing I'm going to do is cast Detect Magic as a ritual.
Yeah. Valid. I need to look something up though. So, you know.
I should
yeah.
cast Identify, shouldn't I?
Gilwyn, do something funny.
You can detect the magic in the dagger as well.
You what, Ollie?
I haven't
Gilwyn,
even
do
brought
something
attention to that
funny.
yet. That's like, oh, that's nifty. We'll get to it.
I'm reading.
Yeah, well, that's obviously what Vale cares about, isn't it? Is like a magic dagger?
It's more or
You're-
less
you're like a
transmutation magic.
floating disc?
It's probably the dagger controls the disc or something like that, but I'm just like, I'll get
Yeah,
to it
like a
eventually.
remote.
I knew it was
Yeah.
a similar feel of magic, so I probably
Yeah.
cast Detect Magic on both of those items. I'm curious to see if the disc is transmutation or conjuration magic.
The disc is transmutation magic, more or less.
Transmutation.
Okay.
It's everything about it has been transmuted at one time. You definitely feel as well like everything here has been processed. The dagger actually has no real connection other than it's made in the same sort of way. Your previous thoughts of it being a power source don't make sense, especially like imagine you detect magic when Melody's on it. It's like it blooms with Feywild magic and floats and transmutate. It's like turning whatever power is in her into everything else.
And what school of magic is the dagger?
Enchantment. Well, technically
Okay.
transmutation, I guess.
Yeah, just yeah. So do you inform Sid of this this information?
Yes, of course.
Wait, you're telling me that this is transmutation, pointing at the disc, and not conjuration
Yes, exactly.
for levitation?
Yep.
Huh. That's curious indeed. I wonder what this could possibly be. It's manipulating one thing to something else rather than summoning something from elsewhere.
Exactly.
Oh. All right. Do you mind you giving it a try? Because again, I'm good with items, but you're good with energy, and you have to be able to manipulate the energies from within. Think of it this way: Vale, in his crude way, is not entirely wrong. The thing does require a power source, but it doesn't require like you to shove an oil fuel into a lantern or something like that. You are the oil fuel. You are the power source. You need to generate that for it. She has a strong connection, which is why she can do it, right, Melody?
Melody?
But maybe you can too.
It's unlikely, but I will certainly try.
Give me an Arcana roll. Step on the disc.
So I think it's worth noting that as your research goes on, when it gets to sort of, looking at the stars, moon, 1 a.m.-ish, Vale is going to head over and send Melody to bed.
Melody completely ignores Vale.
You're like, okay, time to go to bed, and she just doesn't respond.
Yeah, no, well, she would sort of look and sort of just look at him and then just go back to what Sid was having her do.
So you go over and say that while Amelia steps on the disc, and these two are watching because Melody's invested at this point, and Raj is fucking invested because she's confused as balls as well. Amelia, you step on there, and all the sort of the panels open up, and it does hover, just only like a couple of centimeters. It does work under you. Your magic is definitely more attuned to it.
How does it feel? Like, is it just odd? Like, is it
Yeah.
magic? So I don't
It's
particularly care for this.
yeah. I can
I, like,
understand
kinda
not
just
the
step
feeling.
off.
And then it just drops to the ground. Actually, when you step off, it drops to the ground, and something that never happened when Melody was under it. 4 tiny little landing legs open up, and it lands daintily, like it should.
Oh my god, this is incredible! Oh, I'm so excited. Okay.
Well, it's certainly a weird magic, and I don't particularly care for it.
That's
That way-
okay. You just proved my point that Vale is good at one thing but not others. So you are incredible. Okay, I need to try this one more time because just do me a favor. Tell me if you would rather do it with like algorithms. I kind of prefer it, but tell me how it was that you were able to manipulate this.
Amelia would kind of shake her head. I would prefer algorithms as well. However, this magic isn't quantifiable.
I know, it feels more like feelings, doesn't it? And that's just something that I'm not very good at. Like I feel like you should be able to literally almost like calculus but no, it's more of like what's in here? I'm not a fan, but I'm gonna give it a try again. Melody, you can keep fiddling with it for a minute.
You enjoy that, you have fun. I'm gonna go to bed.
Why don't you try infusing your magic into it? The way you
I
do
thought
with
you were in
common
bed.
object.
I thought you were in bed.
Vale walked next to and standing next to Melody at this point.
Yeah.
You yell that and then turn around and he's there.
Yeah, well, I didn't notice him doing it,
Arms
did I? Again, 4 passive perception. Like, oh, you're over here.
Why don't you try infusing your magic into it?
Vale, it's different. You don't infuse magic the way I usually infuse things. You have to control it with magic that's already here.
Right. Well, why don't I do it then?
It's feasible, but it does require a little bit of what's in here too, if you know what I'm saying. He's getting usually Sally is not so aggressive, but he's getting agitated all the naysaying about experimentation because like this is like his life. You know what I mean? So he does enchant something else again for himself to go and try it. This time, just thinking that maybe it's going to work better, he enchants like a pair of like work gloves for him to put on, like very thin, like sheepskin work gloves, and puts those on. He's like, okay, think forest gnome. Let's see. I like to frolic in fields.
This time Melody actually pulls the wolf pelt off her back and like drapes it over him.
It's goopy and gross and has a bit of an odor to it.
No,
but
this is the old wolf pelt. This is the clean
Oh,
one.
thank God. Okay.
So, before they start infusing random magic into this, she is going to take the only other person not involved in this, Gilbin, and just like pull him like, let's walk this way, and she'll actually count out like 30 feet away from what's happening. Like,
So,
we're gonna hang out.
And then
over
like
here.
make a little line in the dirt with like a heel, like count it out. Yeah,
So
actually
you-
fine. You're smart enough to do that.
You wake
You
Gilbin
asked
up
about that? Yeah.
because he's been asleep for a long,
Yep.
long while.
No, she'll wake you up.
It's like, what?
What?
They're gonna start pouring random energy into magic they don't understand. So we're gonna walk 30 paces that way.
You think something's gonna go wrong?
It's entirely possible.
Well then, can you ask Vale and Melody to move away?
No, they're doing it.
I'm not. I'm just trying to get Melody to go to bed, Gilwyn.
Melody,
Melody?
go to bed.
When she hears that from Gil, Melody actually looks troubled and sort of looks towards Sid. Melody, go to bed.
Almost, Melody. This is just like one more hour, and I imagine the sun's crusting. Like just one more hour, and we'll be fine. Okay, just one more hour.
She turns and looks at Gil with sort of like a slightly imploring look on her face. Like
It's like when like one person's on the dog, like sit, come on dog over here, and the other person's like no over here. And he's just in the middle, not sure what to do.
Well, I wouldn't see that because my eyes are still closed and I'm lying down just yelling at everybody.
But you can actually heard Sid.
I'm gonna go that way.
Yeah. I'll go. Melody, it's fine. Just don't stay up too late, and I'll get up. I'll sigh, and I'll go, come on then. And I'll walk with Amelia, rubbing my eyes.
Sid, give me an Arcana roll with advantage.
All right, the cloak was a good idea. Think not bathing for weeks on end. Think nude dancing. Oh man, what else do forest gnomes do? Oh, think high pitch obnoxious voices. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Okay, yes, forest gnome thoughts. All right, let's give this a try. plus 2 more on top of this.
Oh, Scott.
I'm waiting for it. Oh, yes, 23.
It does take off. And with this, probably you're dancing and you're doing that, so it's going like. It's not like hitting anyone in the head or anything, but it's.
Melody ducks once or
And
twice under
it
it.
probably, to Amelia's amusement, at one point it goes like right up against the line that she made, and then back. He's just sort of like weaving around in the air, standing on the disc. He never seems like he's gonna fall off. It never like tips too much. He's just zipping around, quite
Well, would
manically.
you look at that?
Sid, give me a dex save.
Yeah. I was waiting for it. I
He
was like,
never looks like he's gonna fall off. Give me a dex save.
let's not Eric this.
You crash it into a tree,
Oh, God.
and then you fall into the same pit that it was in earlier.
How would you look at that?
And then it falls in on top of you. Just, but it's light. It doesn't really hurt.
Melody rushes over to help.
Yep. Is she able to pull it off of me?
Yeah, I should be able to lift it up easy enough. So
If she goes to lift it up, I'm going to be like, Melody, hold on. Wait. Put your hands in there and lift it that way.
she doesn't stand on it this time, but she does put her hands on it. And
She does lift it up the way he says.
I hope Melody gives him like the look, like it's time to stop.
She's looking down at him worried. She's just like.
Yeah, you can get him up and probably go to bed. Well, is Sid still not going to go to bed at this point?
Yeah, he gets up and he's so excited that he actually saw it happen. There's no way in hell that he's going to be able to go to bed. I'll of course accept full penalties of.
Yeah.
But no, he's going to continue taking notes, and he's too excited. If Melody goes off to bed, if she asks for it, yeah, of course, yeah, huh, yeah. No. You ever see Lego Batman?
I haven't yet. I'm extremely
Oh.
sad about it. I wanna.
Prince.
Do you ever look at the dagger, or you just focused on the disc?
I'm so engrossed with this. Not today. I'll totally look at it tomorrow, though.
Cool. So everyone go to sleep aside from Sid. 1 point of
Yeah,
exhaustion, Sid.
I'm gonna finish my 4 hours of trance or whatnot.
And just like watch.
By the way,
Yep.
Ollie, did I complete the skinning to a satisfactory degree or not?
Not really. He took
Okay.
you away very quickly.
Yeah, I figured as much.
You could continue it tomorrow unless you guys want to leave, but it's
Well,
never
no,
as good.
Melody
as
is not moving until that's done.
So you like start getting ready to do everything next day, and Melody immediately goes over and starts skinning that.
Yeah. And is she? Yeah, I mean, okay. If anyone wants to say anything to her, they are welcome to.
Just like hacking.
Yeah.
I mean, you wake up and Vale's sitting there with this it's like 3/4 full bottle of that expensive liquor, and there's something in it now, and you're like, what? And it's like a slither of that dried heart's been put in there, and he's just sitting there looking at it like, And there's like the desiccated heart next to him, and he's just watching like, I wonder when the color will change. I call it dark heart brew. No?
Do you say that to like Gilwood, who's waking up and doesn't get the
Yeah,
joke?
like he just got up, just comes out the tent, and I'm like, I call it dark heart brew, and he's like, what?
No, he's like, what?
Nice.
Sod off.
So, Vale's being weird. Sid is still tinkering with the thing. You probably get it to fly a few more times and get it to wake people up. Yeah, she's doing that. I
Right,
don't
are we off then? Can we keep going to the place that we were originally supposed to go to?
I think so.
I look towards Melody, and she's skinning the wolf.
Yep.
I look towards Sid, and is he playing with his disc?
He's playing with the disc.
Been playing with his disc all night. It's getting pretty sore by now.
thought he
Vale,
was an
did
old
you
man.
drink this liquor before or after you put the diseased
but
heart in it?
Before, I haven't drank it yet. It needs some time to infuse. Even
what you
then,
drank-
I may not drink it. We'll see. Maybe I'll sell it to some stooge.
I don't know how you've lived this long.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
I'll come too. Maybe we'll find something for breakfast. No?
Yeah, okay. Amelia, do you want to come for a walk? Does Kim want to come?
Kim
How
actually
long are we staying
totally
here?
will. She's like, oh, maybe there'll be some berries. Imagine that. White berries. Or blackberries. But you know, actual blackberries are like more... And she just starts talking.
So
And-
Amelia will
and
literally say
walking.
no. And then Kim says yes. She says, I suppose.
So, Vale's actually going to take this time to... He's not really spoken to Amelia other than chastising her about a couple of things. Or trying to logic a couple of things. Did you get a chance to look at the dagger?
Not in great length. I can tell you it's magical. I can tell you the type of magic it is. It's fey. It is transmutation, so it's been altered in some way. Or perhaps grant some form of altercation to someone.
I see. That is very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, you know, the thing about blackberries is that usually they're more of a shade of blue. But, you know, we've already got blueberries. And don't even get me started on purple berries. And that continues for quite some time.
You're a half-elf, yes?
Yeah. Yep.
How old are you? I've not really spent much time around half-elves. I've figured out humans, you can tell they're aging by how they look. But half-elves, they throw me a little bit, you know? We don't have too many of them up in high tundra. Not many of them on the seas, either.
She kind of just like looks at Gilwyn and looks back at Vale. Well, genetically we're a mixed bag. It varies.
I see, but you are half-human, no?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're
That's how that works.
You're very smart, Vale.
Well, and the other half is Elven.
Yep.
Are you from Aradia then? Wood elves? They like to, you know, with the
Not
humans.
from Aradia.
Not from Aradia. Well, you're certainly not from Sundra.
Sorry, did you bang your head in the night?
What?
You don't ask ladies questions like that.
Why not?
Amelia, tell him.
Yeah.
Kim,
Fuck
tell
off.
him.
What?
Oh, what? Oh,
A gentleman
weren't you
does
listening?
not ask. A gentleman does not ask a lady her age.
Why? In Elven culture, it doesn't matter. 100, 500.
I was raised in Bastilian, okay?
Bastilian. Right, yes, the place where the horns and the tails. Good fun, those people, tieflings, they are great. But, you know, that's like the whole opposite attract. You know, we're like celestial and they're infernal, so that's how it goes. No, no.
Amelia just is just totally ignoring him at this point.
So the thing about getting the right blackberries for a pie is you want ones that are slightly overripe, in my opinion.
Wow.
They stop ripening once you pick them.
Oh, you know, my mother used to say that, and I also thought it was a myth. Right.
Are
My
white
mother used to
berries?
say that, and I told her no.
Are white berries actually slightly dark grey, and that you can't tell that they're white on first glance?
These ones
you
seem
could-
to be, yeah.
And you could perhaps mistake their colour for something else.
I feel
Vale?
like your bard has got something on his mind.
It's to do with Sid. Causes a lot of raptures in the group.
So I imagine with like awkwardness and Kim talking about berries for a while. You eventually loop back around to the camp where these two are these two are still just doing things. It doesn't look like anything's changed, actually.
Did Kim get berries at least?
Actually, can I?
Kim found some berries, but not really enough to make anything.
Strictly speaking, this is if there is edible forage within range, you know it and where to find it. Can I extend that a little bit and have some turn up at the camp?
No.
Damn.
Well, actually, give me a persuasion check.
Well, persuasion check. I only have an insight advantage against persuasion is -1, so this isn't going to go well.
Yeah, I imagine at some point you're like, Melody hungry, and Raj is like, Raj isn't.
Basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, these two haven't moved. So
So,
I think quite quickly your plan of we're leaving soon is...
Are we gonna go soon? Would you
That's-
take the wolf with you?
That's not really up to me. I wish it was.
Melody's not acknowledged this. She's just ignoring it. Unless you
Melody.
speak to her directly.
Right. Should be talking to her.
Ah.
How long is this going to take you to do?
Skinning difficult. Big creature. Melody working on long time. Little bit more time?
Melody, we have to go. An hour longer, tops.
Melody
Could you
just
maybe
sort of,
bring the wolf with you? Could you carry it like on the thing?
Melody actually looks at Amelia and then looks back at the wolf and just looks back at Amelia like frowns like big wolf.
But we do have a disc.
You could probably fit one of the wolf's arms on that disc.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
And to Vale saying an hour more.
No.
Melody just looks at him and goes, Melody wants pelt. Melody stay until get pelt.
Okay, well then you can catch up.
Whoa.
We can't just spend this long waiting here.
Well,
It's one
no,
thing when we're all hurt, but it's another when we have a client out here in the middle of the wastes.
Trust
Hello.
Vale, no one wants to get moving more than I do, but I can't just leave Melody here.
We're not leaving her, she'd be fine. It's a forest.
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess this is the best place for her to be, honestly. But it just feels weird, you know?
Well, yes, but it feels here to wait here all morning while she skins a giant wolf.
Kim, would you mind waiting? Perhaps you can make something with your berries or something.
I wouldn't mind, but you know, the person hiring me might mind if I take even longer than I already have. I don't know the woman. I don't know how she'd be.
If we explained we'd had some troubles on the roads, what with the undead bandits?
And undead wolves.
Yeah, we're not exactly lying.
Melody can catch up. Melody good tracking. And she actually smiles at Gil at saying this. Like clearly she's trying to sort of not quite meet you halfway, but she's trying to reassure Gil at least.
Melody, if I were to leave you with Galleon, would you be able to ride him to follow us? You sit on his back and tell him where you want to go.
Melody not ride horses. Maybe talk? Make horse understand?
If you tell
Maybe.
Galleon that he needs to follow, I'm sure he would be able to. Would that be okay?
Melody can try. Not sure.
Well, I'm gonna go to the tent and go back to sleep. Because
Well-
nothing's going to get decided.
I guess that settles it then. I'm sorry, Kim. We are here for a little bit longer.
Oh, that's okay. I get paid the same when I get there anyway.
Yes, just we might not.
Funny that. I'm gonna make
Don't
a little
sass
blueberry
me.
pot. A little blueberry tart. And
Bill goes and sits down and stares grumpily into and swirls the heart around the bottle of liquor.
I'm
I'm going to be practicing my loot.
hey,
In your tent, playing with your leg.
your name is Melody. Give me a survival roll.
So you roll a 1, and after all this time, you
Yeah,
just
I
destroy
fail
it.
You finished this, and it might be because you kind of had to poke around and side with Sid first that it threw you off, and also that you stopped not even halfway through, like 40% of the way through. So you
Yeah,
spent the
bits
rest
are,
of the day
soft
doing this.
now
It's
that weren't
not
soft.
what you wanted it to be. More or less half of the wolf pelt is salvageable, which is actually a lot of wolf. So that's still good. But it's not like you have you can't sell it as a giant wolf pelt because it's not a full giant wolf pelt.
She wasn't interested
You
in selling
can't
it as a
making it and
wolf pelt.
stuff. It would be much smaller, but you still have it. You spend the rest of the day doing that. Sid spends the rest of the day playing with the flying machine. He doesn't need to do any rolls. He's just learning shit. Then do you go to sleep for the next night? It takes a whole day.
No, we're staying an entire day.
This would take the entire day. It's a huge wolf.
The veil is getting more and more grumpy.
Yeah. Vale got sick of playing his loot, which he didn't think would happen. Did I say Vale? I meant Gil.
You're getting us confused now.
Damn it. I think of long, hard objects and immediately go to Vale. He's just actually kind of pissed off now.
Amelia is putting up more wards for the night. She actually doesn't have to count out or calculate the circumference of the area of the campsite, so it might take a little less time. It
When,
still takes like 3 hours.
While you're doing this, Vale still hasn't. He's still confused as to why you were annoyed at him earlier. But he comes over and he's like, "So if you're not from Aradia or Thundra, where was your elven parent from?"
Oh, I don't know. I don't know my age. No one kept track. Not sure who my parents are. Thank you for asking. I have spellcraft to do now.
I know who both my parents are.
That's great for you. How nice.
They're a little bit disappointed in me, though. I wasn't what they
I
wanted.
can't imagine why.
Well, actually, I'll tell you why. See, I was expected to be a paladin of Orminator. However, I climbed down the city one day and I escaped. And then I went and I became a pirate. And then from there, I ended up in Aradia and I met Gil and a whole bunch of other stuff happened. Anyway, I'm trying not to be a pirate now. I'm trying to be a duelist, which I express, I'm not too bad at it, but I kind of haven't really spoken to many half-elves, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
As I say, there aren't many in the seas where we sailed, and there aren't many really in Thundral, especially not compared to Aradia. There were some there, and there was one there. What was his name? Valrorian. Valrorian, yes. He was a half-elf, but he was a wood elf half-elf, boring. I said quite a lot there. I'm not a pirate.
Great. I'm so happy for you.
There's gonna awkwardly he stays there for a little bit longer, quietly and then he sort of tears off to Gil. And there's some hushed conversation with Gil, and some glances back in this direction.
when Melody's done with the pelt, she sort of wanders over with a smile on her face in front of Gil. Sort of puts I imagine the new one is bigger than the old one.
Yes.
Yeah. She would sort of put it over her shoulders like she did the previous one. It's probably dragging on the floor a bit. And she'd put the old one on
The
a
funny thing
scarf.
is because of the way the stuff you couldn't get and you sort of must have patched the other parts together, and it actually looks kind of cool because you patched it together. It's the almost perfect size. It doesn't trail that much.
Yeah, so she has that, and then she puts the old wolf pelt on like a scarf as well, and it's just sort of like smiling and does like a little pose in front of Gil. Not really a pose. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she's sort of like showing.
She's there,
smiling at.
Well done. Can we go now?
Yes, Melody has pelt.
A howl hoots in the distance.
Yeah, what time is it now?
Late evening. You could travel for a little longer. You could also travel through the night because basically you spent most of the day sleeping.
Oh God, I'm so tired. I got it figured out though. I know how it is that we're supposed to handle this thing.
Sid.
Did you want me to look at that dagger now? Cause I still haven't had an opportunity, and I'd love to give it a.
Sid, go to bed. Go to bed. We're going to set off early in the morning. How long can a little man like you yawn?
Little
anyway.
man, big lungs.
Yeah, go to bed, Sid.
But what
We
about the dagger?
Setting off at first light. Look at it on the road tomorrow. It'll be
I thought
simple.
it was light out still. Oh.
Just go
What
to
day
bed.
is it?
It's been 2 days.
Oh, that's actually not that bad. Okay. I'll call this one a win. All right. Well, I'll make my way up to bed, and like with 2 steps of exhaustion, it's literally slow movement, right? Half speed. So I kind of like start like groggily stumbling off to bed. Like, okay, I'll see you guys in the morning. Ollie, correct me if I'm wrong, but after tonight's sleep, I only get back 1 level of exhaustion.
You get back
right?
1 level of exhaustion, yeah. So you've got 1 left.
I still have 1.
Wait.
Oh, God.
It wasn't too sleep.
It wasn't 2 sleep, so you actually would be fine.
that's
You
true,
you
yeah.
never got to 2 level of exhaustion because you're going
I
to
just
sleep
assumed
this
if you stayed
night.
up like greater than 24 hours straight, it was 2 levels. Like,
No, I just do it like 1 level for each like bodily need you leave out. So you were eating. Were you eating?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I imagine if somebody went dropping a plate next to me, I'd do that whole dirty hands, like like a mechanic, like on your.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So you would be fine actually. You'd wake up the next morning feeling right as rain, or right
It'd be
as
when I have to-
acid rain.
When I would have to pee, it'd be one of those like gamer pees where like all of a sudden it hits you all at once that you forgot that you haven't peed in like 8 hours, and you like run to the bathroom like, oh my God, it burns.
Yeah.
You know.
If you guys wanted to travel through the night, we could toss the gnome on a horse, and my protection magic can be greater at night.
Vale?
I don't care. I'm ready to go whenever.
Yes, please.
Alright, so let's try to make some progress.
However, if Melody doesn't sleep tonight, she might suffer tomorrow.
At this
What about-
point, Melody is actually probably realizing that she's delayed everyone. Is like, Melody can travel. Melody, slow everyone down. Yes, Melody want to try keep up.
Could Melody rest on a horse?
Melody
sorry?
can certainly sit on
Could you
Galleon.
rest on the horse?
Melody not know, and she actually goes across to the horse and sort of puts her hand out towards it and speaks a few words in Sylvan, like try to see if she can get a measure of the horse.
You actually have hung out with Galleon and Ampersand enough that they are comfortable with you. You've been traveling for more or less a month.
And she sort of like asks in Sylvan, "You carry Melody?"
They wouldn't respond.
Well, I know they wouldn't, but she still says it.
If you wanted to have the plan of Melody sort of like sit on one and kind of doze, and that you just sort of like pick up Sid, who is now asleep, and put him on the other one and like tie him in there, that would be fine. Melody, you wouldn't get a good sleep, but you would sleep. I wouldn't give you any major disadvantage or anything. You would sort of just be in and out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but Galleon is the fatter of our 2 horses, right?
He's a bit bigger, yeah.
Yeah. So Melody, it makes sense for Melody to be on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do that. You can pack up camp with no issue whatsoever, and
Is
start
Kim
to leave.
happy to travel? at
Kim
night?
has no issues. Basically, as soon as you said you were staying, she just went back to sleep, and
Okay, cool.
you woke her up, and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'll lead.
She's
Galleon then.
she's a very pleasant lady.
Okay.
She has no issue with
She really
everything.
is, yeah.
Um,
Always work with halflings. I'll lead Galleon then.
You know what they say? Always work with halflings, never work with gnomes.
Yep.
So you can start leading.
Whoa, whoa! Who says this?
More or less, Leo
That's
did.
been like a common
Me
thing.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you start leading.
I know, I've reacted.
More or less, you can follow the old road. It's in and out. You can follow it enough. You travel through the night to the extent that these two get enough sleep and can
Gills bumping
keep
it.
walking.
Gills bumping into things.
Yeah.
You could have lit a torch.
Well, I've not lit a torch.
Gil and you lit a torch.
I think he would have had the foresight this time to light a torch.
Yeah.
I imagine after a while you get going and you're on the road, you'd be like, oh, bloody hell. Like,
Nice.
I'm starting to learn Gil. I know Neil so well, I can basically do a little bit of any of his characters for any reason. But I'm starting to get Gil. So you travel the rest of that night and through the day, and these are fine. You camp like normal. You do the arcane wards. Actually,
Yeah, so when we set up camp, Vale comes over to Amelia again. And he doesn't say anything.
Amelia just like.
He doesn't say anything this time. He just he takes out like a lump of cloth, and then unfolds it slightly, and it's the dried heart with a slice taken out of it. Just closes it up and offers it.
it wouldn't be in a fit. It's a big thing. It's a two-hander.
Yeah, I've got enough cloth in my pack.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
And this time he doesn't say anything, and he just wanders off.
You said that this
I don't know
is
if
the
I can do
next-
anything with this.
This is
This
the
is the
next
next
night. So you traveled through the night, walked, slept,
Okay.
sleep.
So
As people
I would
say.
like to use detect magic and identify and whatever else you need me to do on this dagger to check it out. I'm less intrigued by the dagger because I just assume that it's less exciting.
Yeah, you
but I could
probably
be wrong.
you were just told to do it, and you're like, eh.
It's a weapon, you know.
immediately figure out there's no actual connection to that and the thing, other than they're no forest gnome make. Clearly, the person who flew this thing, crashed this thing, had this on them. You quickly work out that it is a minorly enchanted weapon. Often, when weapons are enchanted, they're just simply made sharper, or that they can cut through the air better, or sometimes to set fire or whatever. This one is kind of like similar to how the disc sort of it moves with you. This would move with you, sort of predicting your actions. But you quickly work out that this only works for gnomes. But you're being a rock gnome, it actually still sort of recognize. If actually when you hold it, is actually the gnomish rune for dagger lights up on the blade. It doesn't like it kind of like sparks. It's really like nearly there, but not all the way. It's a +1 dagger, only for gnomes.
That's amazing. I'm going to take it, but I'm curious about something really quick. What level is that? I have an ability, but I don't have it yet. It's suppress. Ah, it's a 3rd level infusion. That's way the fuck up there. I'm going to get there for a long time. It's suppress requirement. Things like more or less.
That's
I
actually
the
pretty
magic
cool.
item.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah. So
Whoa.
I could like trick the magic item to just like, oh yeah, well he's a gnome too. And the item's like, oh is he? I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So
Yeah.
you work that out. You probably pocket it and like. Meh.
And so I won't, just because again, the way he thinks, I wouldn't even tell them. I'll just figure out that it literally works for only me, and I'm like, I'm sure I can make use of this sometime, and I throw it into my like literally just kind of like my holder. If I had like a
Wherever.
skinning knife or something like that before, I'll just replace it with that because I imagine it could double over for those things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so literally, and I don't know if
It was like
an.
it's more or less a survival knife.
Yeah. So you guys would either
Intent.
see me do that or notice it very quickly thereafter because I'm very nonchalant about it and throw my old skinning knife in a bag.
Probably don't pay attention to it, honestly, do you, losers? You just
Well,
wanna sleep.
I figured Neil would or Vale.
Vale's kind of busy with watching the reaction to the heart at the moment.
You being an elf, you actually do notice the change. If you say Gilwyn, look, it changed. He wouldn't notice. because it's such a gradual thing. It's like looking at it again, it's like, no, it's still wine with a thing in it. But you're definitely like, it's changing.
Oh yeah. You just wait.
It's
You just
gonna
wait.
it's gonna do something. And then you get back to traveling the next day. And because you actually travel through the night, you're kind of a little. You're not a little faster because you waited for a while, but you end up going through the forest into towards Lichvale far earlier. So only a couple of hours into that travel, so it'll be round about noon, you sort of branch away from the forest, and it's an area where clearly the forest has been mostly forested down. You see you see abandoned buildings that were clearly part of a foresting industry. They just destroyed, eroded by time, and more than that. They're you know that this happened 2 years ago. This is more than 2 years of damage, stuff like that.
I'm so hyped to get to Lichvale.
You quite quickly, when you're through, basically as soon as you're through the forest, you can see the walls of Lichvale. Lichvale had very tall, very old walls. They're gothic, they're impressive, they are grey and morbid. And you can see them, and you can see the camps made outside them, because you're walking along the road to Lichvale. You can see one of its main gates, and sort of outside, sort of to the right from your view, which would actually be to the west, is just this fairly large, like, kind of looks like a war camp from afar, like a barracks and all that sort of stuff, but not like an official barrack, all that kind of thing. You can always see as you get closer and closer that this the gate of the city is actually open. As you're getting up there, and yeah, that's more or less it. We're actually going to take a quick little break so you can come to Lichvale.
What were you saying about thumbs up?
Later.
Listen, I am Mr. Uncool. I'm fine with it. Like, I owned it.
That's
My
why
son
I
attended
work with him,
Dragons
so
Club in
I
high
seem
school,
cooler.
Man. I'm a tool
Everyone loves
bag.
thumbs up.
Why is
Everyone
it
loves
not
thumbs
cool?
up.
I do it all the
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
My
I do all the
go-to in
time.
like the Eberron stream where someone's doing something morally wrong and I'm not in the scene is to do a thumbs up. Anyway, we'll be back in some minutes. Hand on to your healths.
Oh.